Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these cute beaded berries. So to make one of these berries you're going to need some size 11 seed beads in the colour that you want for your berry and also the colour you want for the green, what kind of green you want. And then you're going to need some beading thread and a beading needle. And today I'm actually going to be showing you how to do it with size 8 seed beads, which does work as well, just so that it's easier to see on camera. So I've begun by threading my needle with around 28 inches of thread, and then the first thing you need to do is pick up 3 of your berry colour. Slide those down onto your thread, leaving just a few inches on your tail to sew in at the end, and then you're going to sew up through the first bead. So you have this. Now you're going to pick up one and go straight out of this one into the next one. Picking up another one, coming out of this one, you're going to go straight into the next one. The same thing again, picking up another one. Now you're coming out here, you're going to go straight through the next one. Now that means we're at the end of the row, there's no more gaps to fill, there's nowhere to add a bead, so you're going to step up into this next bead so that you're on the top row and there's gaps to add more beads. This time you're going to pick up 2 beads each time, picking up 2, coming out here, skipping over one and going through the next one on the corner. Picking up 2 again, skipping over one and going through the next one. And last 2 of this row, we're coming out here, we're going to skip over one, go through the next one, like that, and again that's the end of the row, so you're going to step up into the bead above. That's that first group of 2 that we just added, but you're not going to go through both of them, you're just going to go through the first one. Pull that nice and tight. Should start to fold up a little bit. Okay, so this time we're going to be putting single bead in between all of these groups of 2, so right in the middle of them, and then in the gaps that separate them as well. So picking up one, going straight down through that next bead. Now we've got a gap, so picking up one, skipping over one and going through the next one. Now we're between a group of 2 again here, so we're coming out here, pick up one and go down through the next one. Picking up one. Now we have a gap to fill. If I turn it this way you can see we're coming out here, you're going to skip over one and go through that next one. Picking up another one, now we're sitting between this group of 2, so you're coming out of here and you're going to go straight down through the next one. And the last bead of the row, and if you've lost count then you should have 6 beads in this row. So this is the last one. Coming out here, we're going to skip over one, go through the next one, and because it's the end of the row you can see we need to step up into this one above as well. So through the next 2 essentially, like that. Pull that nice and tight. And now you have this, and now you have 6 beads that are on the very top row. They're the ones that when you hold it like this, they're sitting up higher than the rest. This time we're going to be adding 2 beads each time again. So we're going to pick up 6 groups of 2. So first group of 2, and each time you're coming out of one you're going to skip over the one underneath and go through the next one on the top row. Picking up another 2, skipping over one and going through the next one on the top row. Picking up 2, skip over one, go through the next one on the top row. Picking up 2, skipping over that one and going through the next one on the top row. Picking up 2, skipping over one, going through the next one on the top row. Picking up 2, that's the last 2 of the row, so you're skipping over one as always, going through the next one like always. Now we're at the end of the row, And this time you're going to step up through both of those beads. So the first group of 2 that you added, you're going to go through both of those. And then I usually put my finger like in the middle there and just pull it really tight. And it's going to look a little bit out of shape at this point, but when you do the next row it should pull it together a bit more. So this time we're going to be picking up 1 bead each time, and there's going to be 6 beads in total. And we're coming out of group of 2, we're going to skip over 1 single bead underneath and go through the next group of 2. You're going through those groups of 2 this time all at once as if they were 1 bead. So picking up 1, skipping over 1, going through the next 2 like that. Picking up 1, skip over 1, go through the next 2. Like I said, you're going to do that 6 times, so picking up 1, skip over 1, go through the next 2. So 3 more, 2 more, and the last one is the same, go through the next 2, and then because it's the last one, you're also going to step up into that single bead above as well. And then pull that really nice and tight. So you should have this. So this time we're going to be putting 2 beads at a time again, and they're just going to stack above those groups of 2 from the rows below. And we're going to be going through the single beads, and this time you're going to be picking up 6 groups of 2, so 12 beads in total, but picking up 2 at a time. So start with your first 2. Coming out here, you're going to skip over 2 this time and go through that next single bead that's on the top row, and that's what you're going to do 6 times. So pick up 2, skip over the next 2, which if you turn it sideways you'll be able to see they sit lower, and then you're going to go through that next single bead which sits above. Picking up 2, skipping over 2 and going through the next bead. 3 more times, picking up 2, skip over 2 through the next one, 2 more times, picking up 2 through the next single bead, and this is the last group of 2. So same thing again, picking up 2, skipping over 2, going through the next one, but then also stepping up through those first 2 that you added in this row. So you've gone through the single bead and up into those first 2. Then put your finger in again and pull it nice and tight. So we have this. This time we're going to be adding single beads again. Each time we're going to add a single bead, so we're going to add 6 beads in total, and you're going to be again going through those groups of 2 as if they're 1 bead and putting single beads in between them. So picking up 1, coming out of here, skip over 1 and go through the next 2, both together. Picking up 1, skipping over 1 and going through the next 2. Doing that 6 times in total. And when you get to the last, go through your last 2 and then also step up into that first single bead that we just added in this row. So you're going through the last 2 and up into the next row. And as always, pull that tight. So now we have this. So now we're going to do another row of picking up 2 beads each time, and they're going to stack again, just like before, above these 2 in the row below. And you're going through the single beads and you're doing 6 groups of 2. So picking up your first group of 2, skipping over 2, going through the next single bead, picking up 2, skipping over 2, through the next single bead, and do that total of 6 times, so 4 more for me. You're adding your last one, or your last 2, do the same again, so skip over 2, go through the next one, but then this time you're going to step up through the two above as well. First two that we added in this row. Get it nice and tight. Okay, so next is going to be a row of single beads again, and as always going through those groups of two as if they're one bead. You add in 6 single beads in total. And if you ever find that you keep like losing count of how many you've added and you try and go back and count how many you've added in this row and you can't seem to work it out, a tip I've got for like this, you know you're going to be adding 6 single beads in this row, so I can put aside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beads, put them aside from the rest, and they're the ones you're going to pick up from, so you know when you've used your last one that you're at the end of the row. So that's a little tip if you get a bit confused sometimes about where you are. So picking up my first one, skipping over one, and then going through that next group of 2. Picking up my next one, skipping over one and going through the next group of 2. And again picking up my next one and through the next group of 2. 3 more to do. 2 more. Okay, so now I know this is the last one. So skip over one, go through the next 2 as always, and then up into the one above. Ready to start the next row. So we have this. Mine's going to be looking quite a bit bigger than yours if you're doing size 11s. Okay, so we're going to do another row where we add the groups of 2, so you're adding 6 groups of 2, so if you want to set aside 12 beads for yourself like we did last time, so you're picking up 12 total but 6 groups of 2. So starting with 2, skip over 2, go through that next single bead on the top row. Picking up 2, going through the next single bead, and do that all the way around. And then when you get to the end, as always, do the same thing again, go through that last one, but then because it's the end of the row, you're going to step up through those 2 beads that we first added in this row as well. Pull that nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to do our next row, which is the single beads going through the groups of 2 together. So 6 beads in total, picking up one at a time. Skipping over one and going through the next 2. Same as always. Picking up one, skipping over one, going through the next 2. And do that 6 times. And when you get to the last one, so go through those last 2 again, but step up into that first single bead that you've added in this row. Okay, so we have this, and now we're going to be swapping to our green beads. So this row, instead of picking up groups of 2 like we would have been doing to stack on top of these, we're going to pick up a single bead in all these spaces. So you're picking up 6 single green beads. So picking up 1, but we're skipping over 2 and going through the next single bead on the top row. Picking up your next one, skip over 2 and go through the next single bead. Picking up 1, skip over 2, through the next one, and do that until you've got 6 green beads added. Okay, so I'm adding my last one, and I'm going through that last dark bead, and then I'm going to go up into the first green bead that we added. That's stepping up. Pull it nice and tight, and it should begin to close back up like that. Okay, so this time's a bit different. So you're going to pick up your first green bead, and we're decreasing back down to 3. So we're only going to be picking up 3 beads in this round. Picking up your first one, you're going to skip over the dark one, and you're going to go through the next 2 green beads. So you're going through the next one, and then without picking up another bead, through the one after that as well, through the next 2 green beads. Picking up your next green bead, just one, and again you're coming out here and you're going to go through those next 2 green beads like that. And what that's going to do is where these threads are at the minute, when we pull it tight at the end of this row, those 2 beads are going to cinch together and that's going to decrease it back down to a row of 3. Picking up your last one and going through the next 2 green beads. Like that. And then because it is the end of the row, we're going to step up into that first one that we just added. Now you can pull it nice and tight. As you can see, it cinches together. And now I'm just going to sew through those last 3 green beads that we added to bring them together into a neat little triangle. So this is what we have. So now I usually add a little bead on the top here, so picking up one and going back into that bead that you're coming out of on the opposite side, and then back into the bead that you have added. Now you want to anchor it to these 2 beads as well. So at the minute it's anchored to this one on both sides. Now we're going to go through this bead and back up into the bead. So now it's anchored to this bead from both sides, so just finally you're going to anchor it to that last one in that group of 3. Like that. Okay. So that is the finished berry. So I think it looks really cute even in this big size. Let me show you a comparison. So this is size 11 seed beads. And this is size 8. So now all you need to do is tie some knots and tie off your thread, and then you're all finished. Okay, so that's the finished berry, so I hope you enjoyed this. And actually I was just looking at them in the camera and this actually looks like a blackberry, like a life-size blackberry. So size 8 beads do look kind of cool too. It'd be quite a big, if you wanted it for an earring, I guess it'd be quite big. But maybe a key ring, that'd be cute. But yeah, that's how I make my little berries. I have a couple of other beaded berry tutorials already on my channel. They're all in my beaded fruit and veg playlist as well, or 3D beading playlist I think. So you can check those out. There's one for a tiny beaded berry and then there's one for like a bit of a bigger size for an earring. So they're all quite similar, but it's nice to try out all the different techniques. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and you're able to make one of these cute little beaded berries. This one's so realistic. I think these beads are like the perfect kind of shiny, juicy. They're actually navy, but on the camera they look like they'd be black, just making it look like a blackberry. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and comment down below if you did and what else you'd like to see, and subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed, and follow me on Instagram at Beading by Hannah. Thanks so much for watching everyone. See you next time. Bye.